All right, man. Let's move on to the next. We got Nova. What's up,
Yes,
baby?
sir. Hey man, Sam Hollister over at The Verge reports that Asus won't say if the ROG Ally SD card reader will ever be truly fixed. Last July, Asus confirmed that the SD card reader issue is and suggested it might be due to a temperature problem, writing that under certain thermal stress conditions, the SD card reader may malfunction. It released an update that can also that increased the gadget's fan speeds to compensate with the additional heat that it has. But mods on the subreddit still advise against using the SD card because the device returns from RMA, which is you send it in to get it repaired and you get it back. As recently as that month, still have some of the same issues that they were having. So 9 months later, the company themselves, I think this was about 2 weeks ago, had released a statement that the U.S. Owners of the device will have their warranty extended to 2 years, which is super dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's Sean Hollister asked specific questions to them to see, hey, like how close are we to getting this fixed? And they pretty much dodged the questions. It's like, hey, we're gonna handle it when we handle it. That's pretty forceful, but they said we got it. We're on to it, And then when he tried to remind them that they didn't answer any of the questions that he presented them to any specific level to get any details out, they waited 2 days and came back and said, hey, that's all we got for you. This is all we gonna, this is the only information we gonna release to you right now. So I've been wanting to get one of these for a while, man. I've been on the hunt looking for me a nice solid handheld. I know Viking has one. He loves it. And I know that a lot of other people, instead of using the SD card, they opted to use the internal SSD and upgrade that, which is very, very easy to do from what I've been seeing online. So Viking, I'm going to ask you first, man. Why do you think that this is still an issue several months later after the device is released?
It's a 1000% a design flaw. I don't know how they didn't. Maybe they didn't think that the temps were going to get so high. Maybe they thought, because I primarily use mine plugged in, so I can get 30 watts. So the shit runs super hot, right? So like they probably tested it in a lot of different manners, but probably didn't test it with thinking that people's best use case for the device was going to have it constantly plugged in. And the exhaust pipe or the exhaust portion of it on the left side is right by the SD card. SD card reader. So when that gets hot, and when at that BIOS update, the left fan blows harder. It's not both fans, it's just the left one that blows harder, right? But I don't know how I don't know how widespread it is. I see a lot of people that this came out in June or July, right? July. I bought it a month later and knew there was an SD card reader, but I didn't care because I saw how easy it was for the SSD, because especially when I'm playing games, I don't want to read these big games, right? Like I guess the SD card reader, they have some decent read-write speeds, right? But I want that shit coming off of the big boy inside. You know what I mean? So I upgraded mine to 1 terabyte, opposed to the 512 that it came with. But yeah, I think it's mostly just a design flaw. What they did, and they also stated, like, God, this was a few months ago, that they had this warranty thing, but very, very few people sent their device in to get fixed.
I feel that nobody really wants to ever. Boy, I know when I had to send my 360 off, I was sad. Ooh, I was down bad.
Yeah, I still need to send my OG Joy-Cons in, bro. They still having connection issues. I ain't gonna hold you.
So people don't want to send stuff in. I feel it.
The reason why, for me at least, whenever people talk about these devices, I was like, get your ROG Ally. I let them know, like, the SD card slot, don't use that, period, point blank. Don't even buy an SD card slot. This is how you do the NVMe inside or whatever. But if you have the money, get a Legion Go. Like, because to me, the Legion Go is better. And to MJ Dark, he's gonna fucking laugh at me for saying this. But it is better. But at the time, that wasn't out. At the time, it was just the Steam Deck, and it was the ROG Ally. And what the ROG Ally could do, I was like, yeah, fuck that SD card. Like, I would just run with the internal that I have, and then upgrade it later. I actually ended up upgrading it as soon as I got it because it's a pain in the ass. Once you already have stuff on it, to like transfer, So, but that was pretty seamless. But I think why I give it so much leeway is it's a first generation device, right? I don't like that they dodge it, and they took so fucking long to talk about it. So I didn't. But this is something ASUS has always had a bad reputation for, was communication and customer service or whatever. Like, all ASUS products, people will tell you notoriously they're fucking horrible. Like, when it comes to customer service. But yeah, it's a first generation product. The new one already on the way. And then they're going to phase these out. I'm sure they'll correct those mistakes. But to answer your question, to go back to it, I don't know how that passed testing. Like, as far as it's like somebody should live like the exhaust. You guys know that the SD card is right next to
right there,
right next to the exhaust, right? But again, there's a lot of people that said like they've had theirs forever and nothing happened. You know what I mean? So, and they didn't answer that question about how widespread it is, right? But it kind of gives me a little hope that it's probably not that widespread, because barely anybody's sitting theirs in to get fixed. You know what I mean? Or if it's that big of an issue to most people, because it's not an SD card reader is I don't want to call it a nice to have. They sold you the product with one, so it should work, right?
Oh, it comes with one.
The SD card reader, is built in.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's not. How do you say? It doesn't alter my gaming experience, I guess, for the main portion, right? Like, there's workarounds. And I think most people who bought this device, knowing it was the first gaming, like widespread gaming handheld, like Windows based or whatever, probably just rolled with the punches. I was like, I'm not sending this in. I'll just update the inside of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's but 100% to the design. I wish I could go grab it.
Design flaw. You can grab it.
Let me grab it.
I'm gonna throw it to Scale. So Scale, man, what do you think about it, man? Because he said the exhaust is right next to the SD card area, man. So why do you think that this is still an issue for this specific console? Is it that?
It's definitely that. Definitely a design flaw.
Or handheld, I should say. It's not a console.
No, I got you. Definitely a design flaw, like Viking was saying. I also, that's what I had in my notes. With QA, hello? I don't understand what happened. How does this go? I don't, especially because it is, like he said, it's built into the console, so it should be able to, it should be used and it should work. And it overheating like that, it just seems like it'd be a catch, especially if you're playing with it, you know what I'm saying? And you know the exhaust is right there. I'm sure you feel that heat. So that would, in my mind, I'd be like, man, I'm glad nothing's important down there. And then I look and I'd be like, oh yeah, my SD card's right there. You could probably take your SD card and pull it out and it's probably hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's probably a possibility too. So just design flaw and a QA. I don't know if they're not listening to QA or what. I don't know how this did not get seen. But I will say, as far as how they're handling it, I think a part of it goes to people not sending it in. I think another part goes into people probably just switching to internal SSDs. I feel bad for people who had their save data and everything on those things and it burnt up. They're fucked. Like, they're just done. That sucks.
They will replace it. They'll
you got to
replace
send it in.
Not their
You have to
data
send it.
though. Like their data.
But it's mostly just games. Nobody's doing like nobody's
But
like,
you never know.
No, you think anybody's keeping data on though? They're just
data like as in like using like
Save
mouse and keyboard to like surf the web and stuff.
No, like save states and save data. That's not stored on this or the SD card.
That's not most of that cloud like on Steam.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have one.
I think
yeah.
That's
I
why
think
that's also
most
my
of
notes.
it's cloud data. Yeah,
And see, that's what my thing would be if people are just loading games onto this, then right? So there's really no harm, no foul. You just have to re-download. You're not losing critical data or nothing like that.
No.
Well, if you're not, and that was my thing. If you're not losing anything critical, then you're just gonna have to lose them games, and just get an internal SSD and then re-download because that sucks. We know you're not going to send it. I'm going to get an internal SSD before I send that shit in the warranty. I promise.
Yeah,
I'm not sending it.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. At least there is a solution. Like, you know what I mean? If there was nothing you could do, then the shit would hit the fan way worse than this for sure. So
like the Joy-Con shit was crazy, like with Nintendo, Red Ring of Death, the Samsung, those Galaxy 7 phones that was blowing up.
It becomes news. The fucking little Segway things, those things catching fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that I think it wasn't crucial enough for them to be an outbreak of bad news like that, because I think people. I know that's what I'm doing. I've spent stupid money to say I'm not seeing this shit. I'm fixing this right now. I'm playing right now. You got me fucked up. My shit hot, done. I got another way to deal with it. I'm not using the SD card anymore. But it sucks. It does suck. And at least they do have the warranty. They have ways around it to help you out and fix you and get you right. So at least they do that. But my last point would probably be as far as responding to everything, they're probably just going to release the new one, and they're not going to give a shit about this one anymore. They're going to fix that issue. The second one's out. If anybody complains, they're going to say, get the second one. Hey, we'll even give us your old one, and we'll give you half off of the new one. Like type
that'll
shit.
be dope.
You know, stuff like that. Now, I don't know about half, but you get something. Still a business. But
I'm leaving here with something.
With something. But I feel like that's why they're not tripping about fixing these, because they're going to fix them with the new handheld. So
yeah. Now I kind of agree with you on that one, man. I think the next version of the handheld that comes out is going to not have these issues. They're going to be testing it extensively. But one thing that I will say, that because Viking did name, like, you know, we had the Switch with the Joy-Cons, we had the 360, we had all these other things, but for those specific companies, at least eventually they came out and was like, hey, this is the problem, this is what we're doing to fix it. You know, with the Joy-Cons, I think you could still send the Joy-Cons in today for free. I think that console came out 7-8 years ago. I mean,
so can I say something on that?
What's up?
Every single one of those companies don't rely on hardware, like to make their money, right? So like Red Ring of Death, Microsoft ate that shit, but they could eat it because they do software.
I got you.
Right? Like same thing with Samsung, Nintendo, software. They make their shit off software. Like ROG just makes their money off of the hardware they release and nothing else. It's not cost effective. Like, I don't think they could. I understand why they're being so, like, as much as it pisses me off, I think I understand why they're being so, like, we not really gonna answer this.
Yeah, bro, I was cracking up reading that interview. He was like, they said, I was like, he is salty.
Yeah. Because you could bet your ass if this was a Microsoft device, a PlayStation device, or even Apple, right? Because they do software too, right? They have their own store and stuff or whatever where they make money off of. They would eat that cost to fix it or whatever. Yeah, it's really hard for these other players. Like if something happened to Lenovo, like Lenovo don't make money off of nothing else but hardware. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I totally get that. But I feel like oftentimes we talk about consumer rights on the show too. You know what I mean? So like in this specific case, I feel like we're giving them a pass to be like, all right, they're notorious to notoriously terrible at communicating and customer service, and yet we're still planning on buying these devices. Like, for instance, if we were to go out and buy a car today and we couldn't use the back seat at all to store anything, but you can still put stuff in the trunk and it's faster, accessible, it's more convenient, people would be pissed the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? So,
but people have options to buy other cars, right? And like, what does that say when people still buy that shit knowing? Because everybody knows about this ROG Ally issue. Like,
yeah, it means that we don't got we to be honest, like when stuff like this happens, we don't need to be like, all right, well, this is kind of what I can do. I can buy a full price product. I may only get 75% of the product, but I'm willing to pay full price and then kind of navigate my way through the product when they're not giving you the product that you bought.
When you say it like that, when it's 75%, I get that. But I think to most people, like if it's 75, most people probably send that in to get it like completely fixed. But to me, this is like a 5% issue. Like, do I send it in for this issue, or like I still bought it knowing, and I'd never used the SD card slot. And most people, same thing, right? Like,
I just don't agree with that specific practice, man. I feel like that puts us as a consumer in a place to where we're showing people that we're cool with buying stuff that's not working, and we'll just But to each their own.
I definitely feel that though, just as a consumer. I'm not trying to get fucked.
Right.
So I understand that for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know what I would feel like if I didn't know. I'm coming from it from the perspective that there was already a shit ton of articles, and like within the first like couple weeks, a shit ton of articles and a shit ton of
it was in the first
videos
in that
a couple of weeks,
and on top of that, scale, I think within the first 2 months, I think they sold what, like 400-500K. It was like a ridiculous amount, even with it people knowing that it's defective.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, like, if it came out, it sucks that it does suck as a consumer practice, but I do agree kind of with Viking that like it's not going to stop me from playing because there is an option to not deal with that. Now I understand that's not cool. It's not
right.
But there is something I can do, and that is weak on them. I'm not here to say it's not for sure, because don't sell me something that shit don't work. Like I planned on it. I'm an SD card connoisseur. That's what I like to do. You know what I mean? Like you said, it had supposed to have it and not supposed to burn up. Like, so I do understand, but I just think it's and with the warranty to help with the issue and to have the internal SSD as an option. I think that's why people were like, I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. You can still play it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you install the SSD, you'll get a better experience. So I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some people aren't comfortable opening up a handheld and installing these things. I just feel like there's just a specific piece of the consumer base that kind of got effed here. Other people, that are very skillful and knowledgeable and things like this, they'll definitely come through and make the adjustments, and they'll get what they want to. So